Hello, everybody. I am Professor Andy Molnar, and it is a pleasure to be here with you in Tech 515. That's technology that transforms. We're going to talk about technology that transforms from many different angles. In fact, next week we'll go backwards in time about 120 years to technology to discuss that. Hey, sometimes it doesn't matter what time period you live in. Some of the same principles apply in technology that transforms, particularly in terms of strategy and competitive advantage and profitability. But that's for next week. We'll touch on some of that this week, but what I want to kick off with is the idea of modern technology that transforms. And so I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about the Google digital transformation as an exciting, modern, current example of technology that transforms. So we'll start by looking at, on this slide, innovation waves, right? And innovation waves, more commonly known as Kondratiev waves. Right now, if I didn't say that right or it seemed a little choppy, okay, it's a Russian name, so I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Right, Kondratiev waves. And so Kondratiev waves describe this long-term economic cycle, which you see in the picture on the right by the red line, the squiggly line. Right, this is a long-term economic cycle indicated by periods of evolution and self-correction brought about by technological innovation that is going to result in a long period of prosperity. Now, these waves, hypothesized, are cyclical-like phenomenon that represent the global world economy. And this cyclical phenomena is closely related to technology and its life cycle. So there's a relationship between the economic cycles of the global economy and these technological innovations. So on the right-hand picture, that particularly, you see the waves that demonstrate that irreversible change that the society has gone through on a global scale. And generally we underpin these based on technological advancements. You can see those technological advancements listed at the top of the graph on the right, based on various industries. Now the idea here in the modern world is that Google would suggest that we're in a wave now of cloud technology and this information technology transformation. So to use the Kondratiev wave as that long-term economic cycle in commodity prices and other pricing mechanisms, right? Because technology that transforms is going to need profitability, right? That we believe that the result currently is this technological innovation that is going to produce long-term prosperity that will alternate with these economic decline, which we're not in right now, right? And this kind of describes the cloud world that we live in. So many economists believe that we're actually currently in the sixth Kondratiev wave, and the current one started around 2005, and they believe that the cycle is fueled by advances in healthcare, for example, and that economic growth is triggered by improved productivity in handling healthcare issues. And so many of those issues tied now to advancements in technology that Google digital transformation is going to provide us. So if you then look at the picture on the left, you'll see any particular wave, right? You see the multiple waves on the right. You'll see the wave on the left in some detail. And so you can see common patterns to the waves, right? And these patterns influence supply and demand. You can see where there's expansion and boom and recession and depression. And so the key is if we can detect the pattern that we're in, we can know something about what's going on. So if cloud technology is the next or current wave, I would say we're probably in expansion or just entering boom, for example, along the way. I think it's very interesting, these innovation waves. So when we talk about technology, then we want to make sure that we have an understanding of the burning platform. So the term burning platform is used when a company abandons old technology for new technology. And of course, there's an uncertainty of success. And perhaps we're motivated by fear along the way. Maybe fear of the organization's survival, and that it may depend on a digital transformation to survive the next wave. So this idea of burning platform comes from the oil industry, where you have a platform and it would pump or manage oil, and the platform might catch fire. And the only way to survive that is to abandon or jump off the platform. The point is here that you have to take a leap of faith if you want to keep up in this digitally transforming world around us. And so we get back to talking about Google. So in this conversation about technological transformation in the cloud era, it's important to understand the evolution of computing power. So computing power is just basically the throughput measured at which a computer can complete some computational task. And Google has a variety of offerings in this particular field, which enhances its transformation. We're all familiar with the basic CPU, right? And it's in your computer or your laptop, right, etc. Now, in cloud, we're often talking about Xeon processors and the use of those with virtual machines. And frankly, the cloud service providers are going to use these sort of processors and virtual machines to do our cloud computing. So for Google, the virtual machines are called compute engine. That's what Google calls it. So an example might be tensor computing. So Google created their own machine learning called TensorFlow. And it has a new type of data structure that's also called tensor, and that is specifically optimized for neural networks. So the idea here is that Google's decided to create some piece of hardware that's specifically designed for their tensor data structure. The result is that the computing power now is 50 times faster than a traditional CPU in your laptop. And that gives Google a serious competitive advantage. Mark that term. We'll discuss it this week and next, and maybe later on in the course as well. So the next level of computing would be quantum computing, right? Which is 1,000 times faster, using parallel universes or dimensions, right, to perform an insane amount of computing. It's still in its infancy, but all of this is tied into the Google Quantum AI effort as an example of what we're talking about here today. So we get to the point, which is the digital transformation which Google is going through. And Google has these cloud solutions as their pillars. So looking at digital transformation, this is the adoption of digital technology to transform services or your business, perhaps, through these different pillars, right? These are going to be your solution pillars according to Google. So either we're moving from a non-digital or manual process, maybe we're going paperless from a papered approach, or we might just be replacing older technology with new technology, right? So we might be moving from Google on-prem solution, on-premises, to Google Cloud, right, which we've been discussing, or maybe to a hybrid model, on-prem and cloud, right? Maybe we're just going cloud native altogether. The point is that Google has their own digital transformation framework to apply technology that transforms, and they do it through these 7 solution pillars: infrastructure modernization, business applications. We're all talking apps, aren't we? In a portfolio like Office 365 and other apps, Meeting, Google Meeting, right? These are these business applications in a portfolio. And of course, application modernization along the way. There's database and storage solutions, smart analytics, artificial intelligence, and security. Now, I don't want to go on too much longer, but I will just say in the next 2 slides, I lay out in some detail, and I wrote my notes on the slides for each. So under infrastructure modernization, for example, we talk about replacing the legacy hardware and software with cloud solutions. This would be Google's approach to the infrastructure. So it's going to allow your organization to adapt some sort of hybrid architecture, move towards a more mobile infrastructure where we're all working from cafes or from home, right? And we can choose a mix of the best cloud service provider. And then to the right, I have examples. For example, Google would offer Anthos, which is manages the compute from both on-prem and public cloud in a single unified interface, for example. So anyhow, not to study that, this isn't a technology course, but this is a course on technology that transforms. And I wanted to provide some examples, and I thought Google was one of the best. And then this is just wrapping up the final 3 of the 7 pillars that Google uses. My notes on the left and some examples on the right. That's it. Don't get buried in that. Just enjoy it. The point is technology that transforms, strategy, competitive advantage along the way. There's profitability is key to a lot of it. And we started out with innovation waves, right? The Kondratiev wave particularly, which ties the economics transformation to these major technological transformations in this global world. It's having an impact on all of us. I think that's pretty darn exciting, and I hope you do too, and enjoy the rest of the ride through Technology 515.